when it all clicks. This when it all comes together. Because now I sent him this. It wasn't clear enough. Right? He sent it back. Or he's telling me to go back again. So after a couple tries, I get this. This was clearer. Right? So now I'm going to pull the actual receipt over here. If I can find it. Nope. I'm just going to stay right here because it's already in my face. Now, I went to the store to get the gift card. This is the 50/50 exchange. Now, watch this. Go to there. Store number 04301. That's an 8. Now, that's the maiden. That's the woman. Then you got 360 MLK, 360 degrees of knowledge. Closing the gate right here. Remember, I went through Lion's Gate. Right? The M stands for Morpheus. The L stands for Lion. King. Right? It's right there. That's the same zip code. Now, my zip code is 48341. Right? And it's a multiple. Now, watch this. 4 and 8 is 12. And 3 is 15. 4 is 19. And 2 is 21. That's 3 sevens. That's 3 sevens. Right? Now, watch the phone number of the store. We already know that the 248 is the 14, which is the 2 sevens, because that's what the 313 area code in Oakland County changed to 248. And it doubled the quality as I went through my initiation. Then look at the 33. You see the master number right there in front of the 5? The 5-point star represents the woman. It's broke up by the 0602. Right? Now, if you look at it, the 06 or the 6, that represents the imperfected man, and the 02 represents the union on the journey. Right? That's the union of the 2. That's 2 is always 2 things coming together when it's by itself. It's by itself on the end, the way that we're using it right now. Now, look, register number 2. Right? Now that's another 2. That's by itself, which gives me another attention to pay as something's being put together here. Transaction 2448476. You see them 3 4s in there? But you got the 2 4s by themselves together. Them the 2 women. But when you add it all together, 2 and 4 is 6, 10, 18, 22, 29, 35. That's 8, the queen's number. So now whatever this unity is, it got something doing with a woman, a young lady, and the union, a registering of a union with a man. This is what the universe is writing. And the cashier number, 4 and 3, that's 7 out the gate, followed by a cipher, which is the break before the triple ones. Before the triple ones. Look at that. Then you know 6 and 5 is 11. So that make another double 1. That's another master number. So this is telling me that this is a marriage contract from the universe. This is insane. This is not something that's easy for me to accept. But it's too much to saying the same thing. Look, wellness plus rewards. Right? Now remember, you always say in sickness and in health, for better and for worse. There it is right there. Then look, the sync card. 95. Look at the X's. How many X's you got? X, that's 5 X's. That's a 5-point star on the matrilineal line. Those are X chromosomes. That's the woman. That's the matrilineal line. 9 and 5 is 14. That's the patriarch. 5 and 8 is 13. 6 is 19. Is 24. That's another 6. So the patriarch is accepted on both sides of the family by 2 matriarchs, because you're using the mirror to determine who is doing this. Right? 1 Amazon. Right? That's my mama. Big old woman. .com. $50 gift. The 50th seat. That's me. Gift card. 50. Now here's where you get your 50-50, your balancing of the books right here. Look. 50. Subtotal. 50. Right? That's an equivalent. That's a congruency. No tax. The total, 50. So, the verification, the 3 knocks on the 50, 1, 2, 3, is verified, right? Once you verified the 3 knocks, then you pay the dowry. What's the dowry? The dowry is $50, but you're doing a 50-50 transfer. Here's the $100 on the 50-50 transfer. Now, what form of money was it? It was given to him in tender. That means it was given to you in an American currency greenback. Now watch, cash change, right? That means the change that they gave you back in cash. Now, when you gave it up, it was tender. That's the woman. But when you got it back, it was cash. That's the man. Now remember, up here he was giving up the dowry. Up here he's giving up the dowry. Now, once the dowry is given up, where it say cash payment, this balance in the books, right? Now this is the verification. This is the verification where it says tender. Verification by the genders, by the woman, the tender, the feminine, right? And then the cash change. Now I remember the cash tied me back to Tupac. While you niggas so busy talking about the money, you not getting the money. This is the male. This is the 50 niggas, right? This is the 50 niggas. Now watch this. Available bonus cash reward 0. Books are balanced. Books are balanced. Wellness and status is bronze. You can't make this shit up. Wellness and status is bronze. Right now, when you go to the Olympics, the bronze medal is the least of the medals. You got bronze, silver, and gold. Right? But flip it. Remember, we're using the mirror effect. Flip it. This would be the gold. But it would be represented as the bronze by the imposter. This is the thief trying to steal my money, remember? So he's trying to give me fake gold, right? But I'm not buying his fake gold. I'm making the investment in my future with my family. And I'm reading his bullshit and I'm using his negative shit to my advantage. So just when he thought he was shysting me, he was actually doing the work of the Queen of Heaven and Earth, whether he knew it or not. See, I had to be able to master both paths, left and right. Come on now. All right. What was I at? Oh, I was up in here. All right, so this rascal is trying to con me, right? He's trying to con me. You see? So anyway, we go through the receipt process, right? Now, this is the receipt that Martin was talking about. I was going to do it all by hand, but it was just easier to explain it to y'all like that instead of writing in the book. Right? Look, we in $1,000. Now he was trying to give me $7,000. That's the other thing I wanted to show y'all. The whole farce that he was selling or trying to sell me. He had people messaging me talking about I won some money and that I done won $700,000 and I have to pay $700 in fees. Now the first thing that twists my brain is if I won $7,000, shit, take the $700 out the money and send me the rest. That's how I see it. So this is how I know he's scamming. Now he want all this stuff. Now he gonna tell me how much I win. Now, this is how I knew to go along with the charade. Look, all of the master numbers. Look at the 333s here. Look at the 1s, the 5s, and the 7s. Perfected man, the perfected one, and the moving masters. So, okay, he's trying to scam me, but the universe is about to tell me something. Look, August 14th, that's 2 7s, 8 and 2 7s. That's the woman in 2 7s. Then it's at 6:34. That's at the man transitioning to the 7, the perfected man. It's telling me what's taking place right here by the numerology. Right? So I go up a little further. He bringing me my money in the next 22 hours. Now this telling me, even though I know this some bullshit, right? This telling me he don't got no control over himself because he don't know he messing with the master of masters. Now this is the money. This is the money. He say that's a FedEx are ready to deliver your money, 70,000. That get my attention because of the 7 and only because of the 7 and all other numbers I've seen up until this point. Then I come down here, there's another 7 followed by my council seat of 50. And then the 7s are directly over top of each other, which tells me I should look at that. We cracking the code now. There's some motherfucking, what's that shit they had the Native Americans over there? The code, wind talkers? We wind talking right now, right? So while he was running all this BS on me, trying to convince me that he really doing something noble deed by getting me my FedEx winnings that don't exist, he don't know that I'm using him to read my way through in order to put my family back together. We only had 2 problems, is what I told him. I ain't got but a couple dollars, $35, and I'm doing work right now. Now notice the 35, that's 8, right? That means I only got my woman, and I'm busy working right now on this problem. Now notice we have 2 problems, right? 2, 1, 2 is the woman, which was represented by New York and the Statue of Liberty, right? The 212. That's the Statue of Liberty, right? I don't even know if this is something I'm gonna know, but look here. Look here. 156. 6 and 6 is 12. That's the 12 signs of the zodiac. So this telling him, motherfucker, I'm moving to the council seat, the 13th seat. Because I'm telling you this, right? See that the master number, the 2 2s, or the 212, being the number of the young maiden, only have like $35 equal up to 8. So I'm telling him about the woman, and I'm telling him right now, I'm trying to put in work, man. I don't got time for this novice stuff. Now he tried to get pissy, right? When he tried to get pissy, I didn't take it as him trying to get pissy with me. I took him as he's trying to get across that he's delivering the message for the universe, and I ain't paying attention. So I go down. So we went through all that, and then some told me back away from him for a minute. We went through the whole thing with the Steam card that I went over the other day, right? And then here it is, he telling me about the money he gonna terminate. Now he's showing me all this money that's supposed to be mine, and he can't take $700 out of there and get a fucking money order to pay for me to get my money if he's sending it in cash like he said. I'm that goddamn dumb. But he don't know that while he's trying to use evil against me, I'm using it even for him to have an opportunity to become something greater than he was. I'm just saying. Now, look, getting pissy again. Get the card at the store. So then finally, this is what made me go along with it. At 11:55 a.m. Look at that shit there. Now, whatever this say next, I gotta pay attention. Hello. Hell is low, motherfucker, and you are a devil. That is confirmed right there when you said that, because you got 2 masters telling me you the devil. So if you the devil, you come to do me harm, and she said that she'll make my enemies my footstool, so I gotta step on you in some kind of way. So at 12:10, right? 12:10, he won't know what's going on. 12:30, right? Now look, remember, now when my mama used to play the numbers, she used to say, always play the other end, baby. If it's 121, the other end to the 121 is the 212. Now remember, so now this got my attention on the other end. That's the mirror effect as well. He want to know what's going on. So now I was gone in the process of actually getting it. Now look at the count. 1, 2, 3. Make the transaction. Unveil the A-tone. Alpha standing on the crescent. Handle that. Mama telling me to handle that. Right? He telling me to scratch it and look. That ain't enough. He want more. That's when I get this. Right? I'm so big.
So if we chose to be here, we knew or we felt that we could make a difference, whether it be in our suffering or in our joy, whatever success or lack thereof, that it was going to make a difference. Because who would pick something so horrible, if you will, as a time of what we've seen, unless we knew that the outcome was positive, that in the
Right.
end.
So just like when you're going out, your past life flashes before your eyes. When you coming in, your future life is laid out before your face. You would know how to navigate it better if they didn't shine them bright ass lights on you in the delivery room. Because you're supposed to birth a child in ambient light. This is why we need our doula centers back. They took all the doula centers and turned them into hospitality places. The places of hospitality to us used to be the whorehouse. So now we prostitute ourselves for medical research and don't even know it. That's why they always practicing, because they don't know what they're doing.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's why they so quick to snatch out uterus and chop off breasts. They call that desecration of the holy places. Each one of the women, when they self-realize, is a holy place. She is an entire temple dedicated to creation itself.
Churches are laid out as a woman's holy place, when you coming down the aisle or going into the, so yeah.
And Dr. Bean tell it like this. She said, heaven is between the legs of the black woman. That's what Dr. Bean tell you, because ain't nobody get in to earth without going through the portal of life.
Sure.
They can make many trans testicles as they want to. They can get them artificial everything. But when that womb of a natural born woman is going to naturally produce what they science is trying to reproduce.
Speaking of which, I just saw, thank you, Sister Ferry L. I know she's in the chat. She turned me on to yesterday to an season 10 of American Horror Story on Hulu. And so I looked at the last 4 episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I think I shared just a little teeny bit with you. But in that, since you mentioned that, in that they have gone so far, they have this this so-called experimentation, because they were trying to put hybrids on the earth that were part alien and part human and replace all the humans.
We all hybrids.
But this is what this thing, but they were impregnating men as well as women. So men their stomachs were growing in. So the one guy was like, how's this thing going to come out? And basically it was cesarean. They cut the stomach open.
Okay, now what that's telling you is it's a parasite.
Well, it came out like the alien movie with the thing that. So.
It's a parasite. Men don't have a uterus. Men can't naturally have children and carry a baby to gestate.
Well,
but a parasite can grow under your skin without distinguishing your gender. All you got to do is look up bot flies, and it'll be in men and women, dogs and cats. It's a parasite.
Bot flies.
B-O-T, bot fly.
Oh, bot fly. Okay.
Yep. If you look them up on YouTube, you'll see them pull the parasite out, and they be in cats, they be in dogs, they be in people. But it's a fly lays egg under the skin, and it grows under the skin, and it becomes a huge node. They got to pull it out or let it mature and fly out on its own. But by the end, it can cause you so many problems that you probably won't make it through the body's attempt to discard the bot fly.
And that's funny. Not strange. It's called a bot fly because almost you think of robots or something that's not human or whatever. But yeah, but they're and that for those of you who have not seen that, America again, I guess thank you, Sister Ferry L. But that episode, season 10, episodes 7, 8, and 9, they're really, I was telling you, dropping real historical information. It's Eisenhower, who was his vice president? I think it was Nixon. After JFK is in it, and the other one, LBJ, Marilyn Monroe, all the stuff we saw happen, and it's tied in with really wild stuff. You just got to see it to fathom it. But we know that they put truth out in movies. They mix it with fiction, but it's a lot of truth in there, and they'll sometimes make things seem so incredulous. And you're like, oh, that was just no. That was, you need to look at it with a more critical eye, because there are, it's a karmic thing for them. Like we told them, they may think it's entertainment, but we told them. We don't have to tell them that we're telling them. We put it in movies. We are the entertainment industry, and that's what I was trying to say. All these things, these distractions, looking at shows and series, it's always been tied, to mind control.
Yeah, well, they did a movie in the 50s about the CIA infiltrating the news media. I'm not sure if it was the Maltese Falcon or another movie, but it's a famous movie from the 50s, and it's about they learned it from Operation Paperclip. It was a Hitler propaganda technique, because they didn't know how to use media for propaganda at that time. That's why when you go back and you look at old clips of people talking in lectures from the 50s, they telling you the flat out truth. Whereas you listen to them in the 70s and the 60s, now they starting to tell you bald-faced lies as if you're too stupid to see through it.
Many were. Many were. Yeah, many were. Are you up for, before we close, are you up for some questions? Because there have been questions that, I don't know if you were looking at the chat, but there were some questions that popped up. I know there was one question that was up a couple of times asking you to explain further about who Big Mama is. And when I hear you say Big Mama, it seems like you're calling Big Mama in the etheric realm is sort of like Gaia, or like you say, the mother of everything, and then Big Mama, like everybody has a Big Mama,
So everybody's Big Mama is a replica of Prime Creator. Okay. Right? We all know her because she flat out tell you what she feels. She don't care. Fuck your feelings. I'm gonna tell you, you need to go wash your stinking ass. Right? So I don't care if you get your feelings hurt. I shouldn't have never had to tell you. Right? Or Big Mama say, that's not how you raise that child. If you raise that child that way, you're gonna have a predator when you get older. Right? Big Mama.
Right.
The one take her shoe off and throw it across the room and bop you upside your head when you ain't listening. Big Mama. She behaves that way because she's the embodiment in the physical form of Prime Creator, who be telling you what's right, and don't have no regard for your emotions, because your emotions is only your navigation system. You ain't supposed to live in your emotions. You're supposed to read them to the cause, and they ain't really hurting nobody. Let them say nay all they want to. They're going to find out in the end I'm right. And I did everything according to the law of the land to reclaim the land from the de facto government. They don't know what to do. So I have to do it because there's nobody else that knows what to do. But when they mentioned me fighting for Larry, I've been telling them the whole time I'm a GD. They say I never met Larry. How many GDs do you know that have? He been locked up most of our lives. They got GDs right now that's 8 years old. Bang hard for that shit.
And he's been locked up since he was 17?
I don't know, he's been locked up 50-something years.
That's still a long time. That's still a long time.
Yeah, it is. But that don't take away the loyalty for the chief. That's my chief. Period. So I'm going to fight for my chief because it's right. Right? And if they don't like it, that's their business. You know what I'm saying? But as long as, I don't mind. People got an absolute right to disagree with me. This is what they don't get. This is why my feathers don't get ruffled. If I expect everybody everywhere I go to agree with me, I'll be a goddamn fool. Right? And I don't have to agree with everybody either. The only thing we really need to be agreeing on right now is we organic to the land. We got an invader here that's occupying the land as if we not here. And the only remedy we have is somebody with the blood ties to the land and the right to overthrow the system to speak up and put it in the public domain. Right? I don't got to do nothing else. I already did the work. I'm just telling everybody the work been done. Right?
I'm telling them the legal goodbye letter from the corporation is the Indigenous Rights Act. It's the same as them writing the little note saying, it's been our pleasure oppressing y'all for the last 400 and something years. But due to what this nigga over here doing, we can't stay. Love to oppress y'all more, but we have to go now. That's the same thing. That's the summary of what the Indigenous Rights Act is. Right? So once all of these things come in, like they wasn't talking about the Indigenous Rights Act in the Moorish community a year ago.
How long has it been out? Because I literally just came across it this year when you mentioned it.
Yeah, the first one came out, I think it was like 2014 United Nations.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah, come on. And the other one was 2017 for the United States.
That's still a while ago. And people just now hearing about it.
No, it's certain people that's heard about it, but when I start explaining to them what it is, more people start to investigate it. They didn't know what it was.
I refilled that big little thing down there with door.
Okay, good looking at you.
Pops tied in
There's
no more cans. This was the last can.
Okay.
I thought y'all, I ain't mean to hide the comments. Some comments I gotta click show. I changed the settings later. My fault, guy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we can go to the next question now.
Second question was, where's she at? From Sister Solaris. So what can we do in our communities to get the ball rolling?
Get as many of the elder women together as you can, and y'all become your city council. The mayor position is a matriarch position. That's why it's called mayor. Mayor is a female horse. And the March of the Mayors always lead the culmination of a meeting of the grants with the grand matriarch. Right? Now they don't do it that way. In their system, the mayor doesn't have the stroke that they used to have. Your mayor, all of the mayors in a territory, they call them states now. So all the mayors in the state used to go to the capital to meet with the grand matriarch of that territory or state. They call it a governor. Right? The governor is the meaning of the Ottoman term bey. Right? So the governor normally had a governor and lieutenant governor, which was a matriarch and a chief. The matriarch was the governor, the chief was the lieutenant governor who presented everything to the public. Right? Now, when all of the grand matriarchs from every territory come together, right, they form a different council. We call it a Senate or Congress. Right? That's the de facto corporation's version of it. Right? But we used to call it the meeting of the matriarchs or the matriarchal council, the council of the grand matriarch, depending from which part of the land we came from.
So another question tying into community is, so what should we as the daughters of tribes be doing? Does that just go back to the whole becoming city council?
Right. It goes back to the same thing. So in every city that we got a large population, we got churches. The Baptist church, the Protestant churches that's incorporated with our culture are what we call Holy Ghost churches, where they shout. And they all have a group of women called prayer warriors and church mothers, right? Each church pick a church mother and gather all of the churches. If you have a large Islamic presence, each one of them pick a Ummah or Ummi, Ummi Islam or Ummi Dar Islam. That means the mothers of Islam, right? And they will form a council, and then the leader of them will connect with the leader of the church mothers. This don't no longer have anything to do with religion. We destroying religion by instituting spirituality, just like they destroyed spirituality by instituting religion. Right? So then we teach the sisters Sufism, because that's the ancient power source. It tells them how to turn the mitochondria on and how to turn it up to full capacity, and it changes the frequency of the whole planet. So they was allowed to take it from us, but they got men practicing it. The men can artificially raise their mitochondrial frequency, but it won't last when they leave unless it's with a woman. So when you see the Sufis doing their ceremonies, they are actually doing what you call mitochondrial activating ceremonies. The whirling dervishes, that comes from figure skating, spinning around on the ice, right? They just do it with no skates on. All of those things is designed to activate the energy field of the woman. Every woman is a Tesla coil when she's balanced, right? And the man become the battery pack. When you put the battery with the Tesla coil, y'all become a remote control for y'all manifest reality. What's the next one?
Next one is, what about the islands? What is our rights in this process?
The islands are ahead of us. They already ousting the rulership of the crown of England. They're getting from under the rule of the fake queen, and each island is supposed to have their own queen, their own grand matriarch or island mother. They used to have that until the invaders came.
Before I say the next one, speaking on the islands, you posted yesterday, speaking on Arawak and the Taino. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, so those are some of the biggest tribes. You also had your Boricua, and a few more of them that made up the islands. The islands was resorts for us. You know how they use them for tourism now?
Yeah.
Well, you wasn't allowed to be a tourist on the island without bringing gifts to the matriarch. And she would send you back home to give your matriarch gifts. This is how we know our culture's been usurped. Because now people just go to the island with no regard for the people of the island. Right? So when the tribe would do a family vacation from up here, Big Mama would say, don't go down there without taking this with you. And she'd give you a whole bunch of whatever, food stuffs that, whatever that island doesn't naturally produce that they can benefit from, that's what we would send them. And then they would send us what we call the delicacies of the island, which is their exotic fruits and their exotic arts and crafts. And they would send that back for Big Mama. And then Big Mama would give gifts out of those packages a lot of times. Right? So that was in our culture. We never went to nobody's house without bearing gifts until they gave us a Bible.
That damn Bible. Whatchamacallit, where can the Nubian men go that want to tribe up in North Carolina?
Somebody have to be the spearhead, the first one to start it. Right? That goes for anywhere. Somebody had to be the first one to start it in the local area. You know, it could be rallied around a farmer's market, or it could be rallied around a religious institutional building, but you're going to overthrow religion by instituting spirituality. Most of the so-called Muslims, that's the converts of the last 50 years, they already know what's up. It's just the Christians that used to be like Malcolm, the Vernon Johns Christians, are now Martin Luther King Christians. Martin Luther King used a military strategy adopted from Mohandas K. Gandhi called civil disobedience. That means you can't tell us what the fuck to do. We're going to go where we want. It's our land. We're not listening to a de facto corporation issue us orders. Right now, we at the point where if the chiefs don't start stepping up and organizing, it all start with the family. Because they wanted to give us a one world currency from a centralized bank that was stationed in Switzerland. We don't want that, because that means that they still holding our wealth hostage. We want them to get the fuck gone and we can handle our own wealth. Well, in continuity of government, they are right now organizing how to divide up the wealth among family banks to decentralize the centralized banking system used to steal our wealth. Right? So if you're going to decentralize it, you have to put back the original structure. You know, so that's what we're working on. So somebody, anywhere you at, have to be the spearhead. You know, you have to be the first one to start organizing your local area. Right? I'm just telling everybody, all of the biggest chiefs, male and female, across the land are all on the same page. And my job is to inform the grassroots that we finna step back into the power. But not only are we stepping back into power, we reclaimed all our wealth. And we have the military support of the most powerful military in the world to enforce it for us when we claim our power. The only thing we waiting on now is critical mass of awareness that the old system is gone. Be aware that the old system is gone. Be aware that our system returns to oral tradition. And we put things in the public domain so we don't do that secret squirrel shit and motherfuckers selling you out behind your back. Yeah.
I put a little bit more water in it. This is called too.
Appreciate you, nephew. Right. So the organizing effort, the cheat sheet, right? Everybody, like, you can't mention tribing up to them. You just tell them that you want to be counted among the righteous, and you can talk to anybody in the Nation of Islam.
All right, so this one, it's like a statement in a comment. He says the Black community is already under matriarchy and things ain't looking good at all. When y'all speak about patriarchy, it'd be a good idea to separate European from indigenous patriarchy. The land is under European patriarchy, not indigenous. If we were matriarchal, that means that we got conquered under matriarchy. Critical thinking is crucial. Both matriarchy and patriarchy are one-sided. The two together make a whole. The latter is the solution, not the formers. And that was the end of that.
He partially right. And matriarchy did get overthrown. That's why we in this fucked up condition. And it was overthrown by women who wanted their mate to be rulers of the world. They come from a whole different psychological makeup than matriarchal people. What we perceiving as matriarchy, and this is why he's talking about two sides of the same coin. That's European matriarchy and European patriarchy. The European matriarchy is the woman has to manipulate her man into position to do what's necessary, right? Under our matriarchy, it's not about the man or the woman. It's about the children and the future. So when we start looking at the difference, he's looking at feminism as patriarchy, a matriarchy. Feminism is a patriarchal in-run around matriarchy. That's how they overthrew the matriarchy, because the sisters they deceived didn't know the difference, right? Because they was under the cultural conditioning of running the tribe a certain way. And when a threat comes, the chief stands out front, right? So we can't mix feminism with patriarchy because they're not the same thing. I mean, with matriarchy. Patriarchy and feminism, European patriarchy, is the flip side of the feminist movement. And European patriarchy requires you to subjugate potential heirs by anally penetrating them, making them unfit to rule. That's why they pushing a gay agenda. The ruler can't be anally penetrated, and his semen can't be found in another man.
That's deep. That was it from the comment section. When I had started the live earlier, there were like 3 questions, new ones. So
Let's get to them.
Touch on that real quick. Somebody asked, do we stop enrollment into the schools and colleges? Do we stop all signing of any consent forms, period?
I've been screaming, take your children out of educational system because they're using it to train us for prison and labor. It's the slave training system, modern education. We have to disassociate in order to take the education of our children into our hands and educate them to be free, independent, self-sufficient, and free thinkers. The system we are under is diametrically opposed to any of that. So the short answer is, yeah, kill the educational system. It's a couple things holding them in power right now. One is the contract with the W-2s and W-4s through the IRS. I mean, people are going to work every day. That's because they operating on a per diem basis. That's mean by the day.
Yeah.
So when a certain amount of people clock in a 24-hour period to a job, that's where they derive in the next day's wager from, right? And the educational system is the secondary contract because you're signing your child up to be subjugated by the de facto corporation, which is actually 2 corporations that merged, the Northwest Trading Company and the Virginia Company. Both of them were slave trading companies.
Yeah, so to answer your question, y'all should have been enrolled them yesterday ago. What should we call it? What do we need to do to get rid of birth certificates and social security card hold over people who have yet to proclaim a nationality or haven't linked back to their indigenous tribes as of yet?
So what we have to do is call abandonment of the contract. We have to abandon the contract because they have never honored a single contract and they had no intentions of honoring them. So that makes the contract become fraud. And that's a criminal action under the law of the land. And the only remedy for the one that discovers the fraud, whereas not to be party to it, is to abandon the contract. I mean, just stop using anything, driver's license, birth certificates, social security cards, anything that require that. Skip it.
All right. To piggyback off of that, if you out driving and you get stopped and you want to start implementing what you just said and you don't have your driver license, what would people do in that moment?
Well, until we reach critical mass, they still in power. They still in power until we kick them out of power.
Okay.
And the naysayers is what's holding them in power right now. The ones that don't know no better. They are the most deceived bunch right now. So until we see 3 kings walking on the land, they still in power. So they can still harass you and give you a hard time. But none of this shit is legitimate. They're all operating in a de facto capacity. They all know this. The police know this at the higher levels, but the foot soldier police don't know shit. All they did was went to school, got a diploma, took them a couple of years of pre-law or criminal law, and then they joined the academy and became a cop. You don't need a PhD to be a police officer, right? So all you need to know is the people versus, Miranda versus New Mexico, right? Which is your Miranda rights. And you need to know the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. And after that, the rest of it, they wing it. They winging it. They winging it like a motherfucker because they don't know. And when you run across one that knows he's not gonna treat you, he's not gonna bully you, right? But as long as we leaving them in power, they got the jurisdiction to, or at least they have the appearance of jurisdictions enough to make you uncomfortable for a while. But don't nobody want to voluntarily be uncomfortable where they can control it for a little while to be free for eternity. So they all want to go along to get along with the system.
This next one, which is pretty much the last question that I had typed up, if anybody had like maybe 2 or 3 more, a matter of fact, there was one in the comments. So why do our men promote rape culture in jail?
Because they gay. Seriously, when you can't promote something that ain't part of who you are. I don't support rape culture. I did 16 years. I don't fuck with boys.
Yeah, real men ain't promoting that shit.
Yeah, the ones that's pushing that shit is gay.
There you go. Who said that? I'm not even about to butcher your name. This question was, if I file a 1099, does that mean I'm back in contract?